Hi, folks. Dan Bird here with a daily scan on Thursday, January 23rd. And the market is open right now. It's about 10 till 2 Eastern time. But I will be out this weekend. So I'm going to do a quick one right now, even while the market's open. So I'm going to jump into it real quick. As you can see, we're hitting up against resistance, hitting the ceiling. Can we break through? Well, not sure if we can, but good news is it hasn't really sold off hard either. So we'll see. I'm not a financial planner. Anything I say is for educational purposes. Past performance does not guarantee future results. So you need to take responsibility for your own trades. So let's take a look real quick. First off, on the homepage, I have not updated the market bias, so nothing new here. But if we go in and look at the charts, we can see on the S&P, we can see there it is hitting up against that resistance line right there at the top. Almost exactly, hitting it almost exactly with about 2 hours left to go of the day. So can we break through? Who knows? We'll see. We'll find out. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. NASDAQ 100, the big cap tech stocks actually pulling back a little bit from yesterday. So that one is a little bit weaker than the S&P. And technology right here, technology's kind of the same. It's an inside day. That's called an inside day. I'll do candles at some point on Technical Tuesday. But that is right now, the open and the close is in the middle of the previous day's candle. So that's not showing much strength for today, at least. And then if we go down and look at Bitcoin, just for fun, Bitcoin is trying to break out up and down, got above that line again, but just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times now, has not been able to close above it. So that's what it's going to need. It's going to need a close above that line. Let's look at the US dollar. That's beginning to pull back now. It's going to get a short-term down signal today. So it's pulling back. That might actually help large cap stocks that do business overseas, could help them. All right. Next, I want to quickly take a look at the market carpet. So that's what it looks like as of now. So 10 minutes till 2 Eastern time. You can see NVIDIA, all the big caps are down slightly. NVIDIA, Microsoft, Broadcom, Apple, Amazon, Tesla. Meta is the only one that's trying to make a go of it. Oracle's up a little bit as well. At the top of the list is GE, interestingly. And then Moderna, which has been in the bottom year to date. So those are the stocks that are performing today. If we go and take a look at the relative performance graph. So this is so far today, you can see all of the aggressive sectors are over here in the lagging quadrant, as is a defensive sector, which is Staples. So that gives us a little bit of hope, actually, that Staples is underperforming. And discretionary, which is right in here, is outperforming. So that is positive for an uptrending market. So if we go back about a week, you can see how all these things started to move. You can see those are the three right there, XLK, XLY, and XLC are the three aggressive sectors. They started to move into the lagging area. And then they went over into lagging, and then they started to move up. And today they are still moving up a little bit, but they're still in the lagging quadrant. So we've got defensive up here in leading, and we've got aggressive down here in lagging. But they're starting to move up. So maybe that's some hope, but we got to get through that resistance. That's a very important resistance level. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the market pull back from there. And it would be a healthy thing, actually, for that to do, because there's lots of gaps. See all the gaps in here? Gapped up all the last week or so. So those might get filled. So maybe down here to the 50-day, 59.80 roughly is where it might pull back to. But if it does break out, then that will be very positive. So we'll have to keep an eye on this. I don't know what it's going to do by the end of the day, so you guys can watch it. I'll be on the road. If it breaks above, right now is at 6,100, just barely 6,100. Just pull back a little bit, 6,112. And if we look at it on a 10-minute chart, there's what there's what it looks like today on a 10-minute chart. So you can see just kind of up a little bit, kind of going sideways. Not really much movement today, ever since yesterday, in fact, just going sideways. This is actually a good thing that it gapped up. It was moving higher, it gapped up, and then it just went sideways. So that's building up energy. Think of it as a squeeze, but this is just a 10-minute squeeze. So we probably have a squeeze in the 10-minute chart. It's building up energy right here, getting ready to break out, but we don't know yet which way it's going to go. So that's what things look like at this point. If we look at the dashboard, and we'll look at the sectors first. Over here, you can see XLK, XLC, XLY, just like it showed on the rotation graph. They're down here at the bottom, along with staples, which is defensive. So aggressive and one defensive are down here at the bottom. And up here is industrials. So that's where GE is, and healthcare. So those are the two outperforming, and utilities also. But these are the two key ones today, is industrials and healthcare. So if you're looking for something to get into, make an entry, then those might be the areas to take a look at. And you can do that if you are a stock charts customer. You can click on charts and tools and then go to sector summary. And then it shows you all of the sectors, and we can look at industrials right there. And it shows you which ones are outperforming today, and railroads and aerospace. So if we look at aerospace, which has had some pretty good ones recently, and let's go back 1 week, see what the top performer is. And there's Redwire, the one that I mentioned a while ago. Lunar also, another one that was looking good. So those are right there in the aerospace group. That is one of the highest performers today. So this is the way you can go look. Start with the market, go to the sector, go to the industry, and then find the stocks that are outperforming within that industry group. So there's our some right there. Here's a $3 stock, Sidious Space. I have no idea what they do, but if we open it up, right there, big gain right here on huge volume, and then pull back and just kind of going sideways. So don't know anything about it, so it's one you could do your own research on. All right, so the last thing I want to do before I sign off and hit the road is let's look at a few stocks. This is NXT, one that was mentioned last week, and last week I said that it probably is going to pull back. This is when it was right about here. And I said that it looks like it's ready to pull back, and it did, started coming back. And I said at the time, it's probably going to come back to the 21-day, probably around 40. And it got to 39.86 was the low today, and then started moving higher. So this might be a good entry on this one for anyone watching this. NXT, renewable energy, that might be a really good entry point right now, or a place to add if you're already in it. So that one actually looks pretty interesting. What other ones were we looking at? Well, let's take a look at a list that somebody sent me last week, and quite a few actually. I'm just going to go through this list and look at each one. So these are all pretty interesting stocks. Palantir, I'm sure everybody knows Palantir. So this one is getting right near the resistance at 82. It's currently at 78. So that could be a breakout coming. Momentum is moving up. ADX is above 25, and the green is above the red. And the weekly actually looks pretty good too. It's starting to move up off of the 21. So this one looks like it might be just getting ready to go. Palantir, this might be a good entry point for Palantir. Next is SoundHound, another one that we've been talking about. This one actually hit the scan a while ago, and it would have hit the scan also right back in here at about $5. It would have hit the scan. So this has been going up. Momentum starting to move higher. It's moving sideways. It had a little bounce a couple of days ago, moving sideways. Momentum is starting to move higher, but doesn't have a lot of conviction yet. And and volume isn't too high, but the weekly, it is bouncing off the 21. So this one might be ready to move higher as well, as long as the market cooperates. That's what I think on that one. That's an AI stock. Rocket Lab. This has been in the top 10. Last week it was in the top 10 of two of our lists. And you can see it had a nice big move. It actually broke through resistance, and now it's just moving sideways. So its momentum is above the line. So everything looks pretty good. It's above zero, but it's moving sideways. So it might be building up momentum again. It might actually turn into a squeeze down here. So certainly one to keep an eye on. And it looks like the weekly is trying to break out as well. So it needs to get above 30 over here. Well, this is, let me see. This is about 30, but it's already up to 20, no, 31. So yeah, that 30 was the breakout. So it's already broken out, and it's still just sitting right on that line. So today it's at 29.23. So if it can break out and start moving higher, right now it's just moving sideways with really basically very little volume. So that looks like it's building up some energy right now. Hims and Hers Healthcare. So I showed you healthcare was one of the top sectors. So this one looks like it's doing pretty well today. It's right at the major resistance is at 34, and it's currently right at 30. So it's moving higher. If the 5's above the 21, everything looks good. 21's above the 50. All the moving averages are lined up. The ADX is green. The ADX line is below 25, but the green one is above 25. And the weekly just bouncing off the 21 back here. So this one might actually get back up here up to about 34. And then we'll have to see what it wants to do once it gets there. SoFi, it's another one that we've talked about here before. So this one definitely broke out right there, broke above 17, and it's sitting right above the breakout point. So this one also is moving sideways. So watch for a squeeze, might build up on this one. And the breakout would be really right above this particular area. So 18 is where the breakout would be for SoFi. And the weekly already is breaking out. So this one actually looks very good right now too. Wolf. Asset managers, this one I'm not so impressed with. It isn't a squeeze. It looks like the momentum is about to cross over. So this one actually will hit the scan, the daily scan, maybe tomorrow. Although I won't be doing this tomorrow, so there won't be a YouTube video or anything tomorrow. So it needs to get above the 50-day, which is at roughly $7. And then it's got a lot of resistance up here. It's got to get through all the way up to 8, and then the high up here at 9.25. So it's got a lot of work to do. We'll see if it can do that, but it's in a squeeze right now, so maybe one to watch. RGTI. Computing. This is a quantum name, just like all the other quantum stocks. It had a huge run. It sold off big time after CES. And now it's trying to recover. Right now it's moving sideways and might start a squeeze here soon if it keeps doing this, if it keeps going sideways like that. But it needs to get back up here above 20 for a breakout. So trying to do it, but not convinced it will yet. SERV, also one that's been on the top 10 list, and it's going sideways as well. Really it's just started the squeeze. So 2-day squeeze right now. It needs, but we don't know if it's going to go down or up, and the momentum has been heading down. So there's a potential that this squeeze will fire to the downside. That's the only thing I'd be careful on this. It's a robotics company, electronic equipment, so it's probably in a good space. So I would just be a little careful right now and let it commit to which direction it's going to go. Something above 21 probably is what it needs to do. Okay, what's the next one on here is IONQ, another quantum computing stock, and looks just like RGTI. Big run up, sell off after CES, bounced, going sideways now, and trying to decide whether it wants to go higher or not. So we'll see. And two others, and then I'm going to come back to this in a second. I'll show you something. LAES, no idea what this one is. Technology semiconductors. Okay, so had a really nice run up. This is a penny stock. So basically went from down here 40 cents all the way up to $10. That's a nice run. And now it's pulling back as it should. It needs to digest all of those gains. And you can see where the green and the red and the ADX are just crossing back and forth. That's basically just indecision, doesn't know what it wants to do. Could go down just as easily as up. So I cannot give you an opinion on this because this one could come all the way back down to 40 cents. We'll see. I don't know what the volume on this is. Let's see. Oh, 19 million. That's pretty good. Volume back here was 44 million. Of course, 44 million on 40 cents is probably less volume than 19 million at $6. But that one's a gamble. That's a casino roll. TEM, another AI stock. This one looks like some news. It was actually in a squeeze, fired to the upside right here, right up to the 50-day, went above it. So it has a lot of resistance to get through over here, all the way up to 78. So right now it's at 53. There's a potential it could get back up to the first level, 65, and then it would have to get to the next one, 78, above that. But everything's lined up that could happen, and huge volume these last 3 up days. So on this one, what I would do is probably wait for a pullback on this, see if it'll pull back to the 50-day at about 47. And it looks like it wants to get back up to the highs back over here. But even on these highs, the volume wasn't nearly what the volume is right now. So let's see, volume 33 million, and volume back here was 3 million. So 10 times the volume. So there's definitely something going on with this one. This is one to take a look at the company and the fundamentals and see what they're doing, what kind of announcements they've made. But this one actually might continue higher. It's already made a run, so I don't like to chase it. So it's gone from basically 35 to 55. $20 move right there in 3 days. It's a nice move. All right, let me go back here to IONQ. And I just want to try something here. And this is something that I learned from, let's see, I'm going to go back here, go back to the dashboard, and then go all the way down. And there's Tom Bowley. But there was another guy that popped up on here that had a really great video earlier today. And he does some really great things around technical analysis. Although I don't quite remember his name because I just discovered him. See if he's in articles over here. Yeah, here we go. Joe Rabel. So I highly recommend going out and checking him out. He's got some really good things, especially for those that are interested in technical analysis. He did one on the ADX, which gave me a lot of information, and now I've changed how I use the ADX, and I use it much more. But this one here just came out yesterday, how to spot trend changes. And what he is using to do that, and I'll show it to you here, is something called the Zigzag. Now, I'd seen this, but I had never really used it. I'm not going to do a Technical Tuesday because it's pretty simple, really. It basically just allows you to, allows you to see the trends and whether it's making higher highs and higher lows or lower lows and lower highs. So you can see with, that's CDLX, but let's look at IONQ. And so right there you can see, and the settings are, you just use the standard settings for this. It's just called Zigzag. And it shows you there's a low, there's a higher high, there's a higher low, higher high, equal low, or a little bit higher. So you can see there, that's the definition of an uptrend. Now we suddenly have a lower low. So now this looks like a character change for IO and Q. And that's why I wanted to do this, because it looked that way to me when I was looking at the chart. So now we have a lower low and we have a lower high. So we've got two of those now. And so now you have to be aware that it is now changing into a bearish configuration, and use your other indicators. Remember, I've always said don't ever rely on just one only. Use your other indicators to determine whether that might continue. But as long as this continues to make a lower low, and especially if it goes down and makes another lower low, or a lower high rather, if it goes down and makes another lower low, it definitely will be in a downtrend. But right now it is a bear alert. It's alerting you that there's something changing in the way that it looks. So over here, this is the weekly. Over here we have a higher high, but now we have a lower low. So this weekly low is lower than this weekly low. So now it's going back up. Now we have to see is it going to make a higher high, or is it going to turn around again and make a lower high, which will just confirm on the weekly, on the longer term, that there is certainly a character change going on. So that's something that was really interesting. Joe Rabel, I highly recommend check him out. Check out his site. Check out his videos, especially on stock charts if you are a member. I think you might be able to get them even if you're not a member on stock charts. But his videos are pretty interesting and very informative and educational. So that's it for today. Hope everyone has a great weekend. I will not be back until Monday. I think I might be back for Zuber's Call on Sunday for those of you that tune into that. You can find him at One Rental at a Time. He does many YouTube videos about real estate, and I join him on Sundays to talk about the stock market. So One Rental at a Time is where you can find him. All right, that's it. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Stay safe.